Hi, this video deals with the different question types you can add to your surveys in mycentral.com. First of all, we're going to look at radio button. So, we add a question. And we select the relevant question type. When we click Add Question, our question is added to the list. A radio button is an option-based question where you can select just one response. So, if we add our options, then we can then edit those options if we need to in the list below. Once those options are added, we can reorder them or disable them in order to remove them from the options list. So let's go back to the questions list. Because this survey is a paging survey, you're allowed to ask if somebody wants to ignore your question. The standard value here is allow ignore, as in we don't want to put too much pressure on the responder to have to respond to a particular question, but we can give them a message if they fail to answer this question when they move on to the next page. If response required is chosen, it means they have to provide a response, and sometimes this can be a bit irritating for your responders. We can also, in a paging survey, force a page break after this question in order to make another page start after it. Because it's a radio button, we can add an other text option. That's a radio button question. Let's move on to checkbox. So let's add another question. There we go. This time we're doing checkbox and add question. A checkbox allows the user to select as many as they like from a particular question. So if you've got several options within your checkbox, they can select as many of them as they like. We can also provide an other text box in order to capture values which we'd forgotten to put into our options. So here we go, let's add some options. So let's put a couple of possible services in. Here we go, that's that one. And that's a couple of options. Let's add one more. There we go. And we can reorder those if we wish. Let's move that one up to number 2. Okay, so our user can now select from our checkbox question as many of those as they're aware of based on our question. Okay, let's go and add another question. This time I'm going to add a straightforward text box. So here we go, adding a text box question in, and we can scroll down the list and see that our question comes in down here. Let's say we wanted this to be the first question in the survey. If we update that question, it moves it up to position 1. So your text box can have a maximum length and it can be multi-line, which is what we want. Let's tick that, and we can put a page break after, just like all the other questions. Right, the next question type we're going to look at is agreement selector. This is like an option-based question where the options are predefined for you, and you can treat it in that way if you wish. But it's a quick way of getting an agreement type question set up. There's a question, agreement selector, and add. And here it is down at the bottom. As you can see, it's pretty much an option-based question, but the user has to pick from those options. Of course, we can drill through and edit those options and rename them if we wish. So, for example, we can change that one to really great. How's that? And update it. Okay, back to the questions list. And we can now see that our survey is starting to build up. We now have 4 questions. Let's go back and add another question. This time we're going to add an opt-in. And the reason we'll use this is it gives us an opportunity to capture a responder's email address should they wish to give it to us. If we're doing an incentive-based survey, then we'll need to have one of these questions in order to capture the user's email address in case they win the prize. Please enter the email address. We'll use it to send you your voucher. And that's an opt-in section. Add that question in there, and if we scroll down the page, here we have it. So this is an opt-in question, and it will just capture an email address at the end of our survey. A drop-down list is the same as a radio button, except that their controls are contained within a drop-down list. So let's do one of those. It's a bit of a trivial question, but there you go. Let's change the text on that. Add that question in, and let's go down to our question. Here it is. Red, okay, blue, okay, those are the three options I'm going to provide for that. And we also have an agreement group. The agreement group allows you to group questions together using the same options. I'll show you how it works. Okay, let's add that question. Scroll down the page to find that agreement group question that we just created. Here it is. And let's edit the options because we want to rate. This is rate our service in the following areas. So let's put brilliant, good, average, poor, and hopeless. Okay, and there are our new options. We just recreated that list. Back to our question, which is scrolled down to the bottom of the list. Because this is an agreement group, we can add group questions which sit within the agreement group. So let's look at reception staff were helpful. Okay, add that. Let's add waiting time was kept minimum. Good value for money service. And let's add that. And those are the questions in our agreement group. Once we've got questions in our survey, we can go through to step 5, which is the review, and we can review the survey content. So here are different question types. Here's our text question, multi-line, 500 characters. Here's our radio button question with our 3 options. Here's our checkbox question where you can multi-select. Here's our agreement group. Oh, sorry, this is not an agreement group. This is our agreement selector, which is a single question. Here we can enter our email address. Notice that the responders must tick the box in order to say that they wish for their email address to be passed on to you. This is our drop-down list, and here's our agreement group. So we can then select one from each within this group. So because we're only reviewing the survey at this point, we click to go back to the previous page. And those are the question types that you can use in mycentral.com. Don't forget to watch all of our other videos. Thanks for watching this video.